Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Musings of a Black Expat Woman. My name is Roxanne Munson and I have been living as a corporate expat spouse for over 11 years. I have lived in Japan, I've lived in Mexico City, and now I am living in Panama City, Panama. I was recently watching this video by Andrew and Melissa. Their YouTube is called The Life of Andrew and Melissa. They talked about things that you should think about before moving abroad, and they listed 6 things. And it made me think about, as a Black expat woman with a Black family, what are some things that we would have liked to have known ahead of time, especially since we are corporate, so we are literally getting moved with a company. This is not something we're just choosing to do on our own. So I thought about 6 things that I thought would be really important, and so I decided that I wanted to share it with my viewers. No particular order, but I feel as though these are things that I feel as though will help you think about what moving to another country, especially with a company, might look like and what you should think about ahead of time. So first, I would say, will they give you an opportunity to do a look-see, exploration trip? Will they pay for that? Will they allow you to spend a good amount of time, at least 5 to 7 days, exploring, checking out different neighborhoods, apartments, houses, banks, restaurants, shopping centers, what have you, and allowing you to get a feel of what life might look like for you in that location, especially if you have, like, for instance, I have children, and so going to schools was important for us to see what schools we visited felt right for our children. And so that would be something that I would think about. Will they give me an opportunity to explore the area before I said yes? Another thing is, what does community look like for you and your family in said location? I know a lot of times we have a certain lifestyle where we are currently, and we sometimes want that same lifestyle where we're going to be moving if we say yes to these opportunities. So what does that look like? Community, is it a diverse community? Is your community really the people who you work with because you're in an enclosed environment and you literally live amongst your coworkers? If you're somebody who really needs to see you know, other Black families, other international families, will you find that in your location that you're looking at? And what does that look like? Just because they might look like you, do they have a similar lifestyle as you? And if not, what does that look like? Another thing that I would say is safety. Will you have to live in a compound? Will you have the ability to live in an apartment or a house that you choose? Will you have to do safety measures to the house, the apartment, up to the standards of the company because they want you to be safe? Will you have to protect your car with security features? What does safety look like in your location? Will you be allowed to travel to different areas, or are certain areas off limits? If they're off limits, what will happen if you decide, me and my family still want to explore those areas? Will that impact your job? Because sometimes people are like, oh, I want to do it anyway. I heard it was great. I want to go. What will that look like? Will you get in trouble? Will your company say, okay, you can go, but if anything happens to you, it's not our fault? So that's another thing that I would think about. Let's see. Expenses. That's a big one, especially when you are with a company, because you get on a package, and your package could be one where they pay for your housing, or they pay for a portion of your housing, or they pay for your kids' education. They pay for you to get a flight back home once a year. Like, what are your expenses and what does the company cover? I think that's really important, because sometimes we get excited about these opportunities. However, is it going to improve your lifestyle, or is it going to be a potential hindrance to your lifestyle? Because if you go somewhere where, the cost of living is really high, and the company is, say, not paying a lot for your, education or your housing or going back home, will you be able to financially be okay if you took that assignment? And that's something to really think about. Another thing is, if you don't speak the language, if you do not speak the language, will you will you have somebody there to help you? Will they give you lessons? Will you get a translator? Like, what does that look like? Because especially if you're a communicator, especially if you do your day-to-day and you like to ask questions and you know what's going on, is this going to be a hindrance to you if you cannot speak the language and if you do not have any support? And also being able to articulate, what does support look like? Is support for you paying for you to have lessons? Is support for you like, I really need somebody with me who knows the language, the native language, as well as English, so that I can do things with them once I get there and get my bearings. Then maybe I don't have to use them as much, but somebody, almost a lifeline that you can use, because the language barrier can be very cumbersome if you are one where you don't have any support and you have to get a lot of things done, especially when you first move with a company to another location. What's another thing that I wrote down here? I wrote things down because I'm getting a little up there in age and I don't want to forget anything. This personally pertains to me. Will your partner be able to work in the new location? I have not been able to work. I'm a nurse. I am a trained nurse in the US, and in Japan it was a language barrier. In Mexico, those jobs are for the locals, which is fair. The same thing in Panama. So as a result, I've had to reinvent myself. I became a professional photographer because that's something that I can do and not have to worry about any type of issues, because I'm not taking away jobs from locals or whatever. Most of my work is private people that hire me to document them and their lives. So as a result, that's something that I can do. But if I was somebody who said, I really, 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 really want to work as a nurse, I can be able to do that. And I think that is a big thing, because, I had a thriving career and I had to put it on hiatus. I put it on hiatus. So I always say, find out if you can work in the location that you're looking at. And if not, what are other things that you can do to keep yourself content and enjoying the experience? I think I have covered the 6 points that I wanted to share today, but if you think of anything that I might have missed, I would greatly, greatly appreciate you sharing those with me, because like I said, this is something that I want to talk about more. I do not see Black corporate expats in this YouTube space, and I feel as though our voices are necessary as well. So if you like this video, please subscribe. Give me comments, suggestions, improvements. I would love to hear what you have to say. And until next time, I'm Roxanne Munson, and this is my YouTube channel, and it's the Musings of the Black Expat Woman. Have a good night.